Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Happy Friday. Today's show is going to be an exciting one. We are talking about overvalued fantasy football running backs for 2020 fantasy football. Yes, these guys could potentially end up being busts. Huge episode. Let's get to it.
Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to the Fantasy Football Counselor.
All right, guys, happy Friday. I am angry today. I'm beyond angry today because we're talking about overvalued running backs, and I can't believe these guys are in the top 10. So I'm going to be venting a lot. There's a lot of guys here that shouldn't be in the top 10, should not be drafting as early as they should be drafted. This has to be addressed. You need to be aware of it. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these guys have a massive ceiling. So yeah, I could say, they're overvalued and I don't trust them, but they could be a top 3 running back. So with a lot of risk comes reward, but I don't know if I'm going to take a risk on these particular guys. So we're talking overvalued fantasy football running backs, guys that are being drafted way too early and don't deserve to be drafted that early, and I'll tell you why. Before we get into this show, guys, it's very important. We are in full flow fantasy football season, so you got to get the 16-round draft solution. I've linked it here below. This is the game changer. I'm going to help you guys crush your leagues, period. The first ever and only video training. I give you all the optimal players to draft in each round, which players to stay away from. This is it. This is the solution. That's why I don't call it a draft kit. Fantasy football draft kits are dead. Get the 16-round draft solution. I've linked it here below. I pinned it to the comments or in the body under the video in the text there. Also, head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com if you're in the car. Pull over. Just pull over. Get it, guys. I've priced it so everybody can afford it. And I'm telling you guys, this is the game changer. You're going to be light years ahead of the competition. 16 rounds is here. You're going to absolutely love it. Also, guys, your fantasy questions, leave them below. Also, I'll leave a text number, guys. You can text me. If you're in the car, pull over. I'll give you guys a number right now. I'm going to pull up the number. It's also on my Instagram, guys. You could text me. I'll answer one question, and I'll try to get back to everyone I can. The number is 716-322-3183. You could text me at 716-322-3183. Feel free to rewind here, whatever you want to call it. Go back. I don't know if people even say rewind anymore. But go ahead, text me. I'll try to get to one of your fantasy football questions. And again, I said this before. Don't text me, hey, what's up? I mean, I'm not here to just too many people to talk to. So just get right to your question. I'll get to it, okay? And smash thumbs up and leave your questions here below. And let's get to the show, guys. So first and foremost, let's talk about the first running back here that I think is beyond overvalued, okay? And this is the thing, right? He's in the top 10 across the board. And you've heard me, and I sound like a broken record. And trust me, guys, there's going to be other running backs here that you have not heard me say they're overvalued. Trust me. But this guy's completely overvalued. The guy I'm talking about is Dalvin Cook, okay? Dalvin Cook is beyond overvalued. I'll tell you why. Dalvin Cook has not finished a season in 3 years. He fell apart near the end of last season. In fact, if you may know it or not, his first season, he only played 4 games. The second season he played 11 games. And last year, 14 games. This guy has not made a fantasy football playoff championship, okay? He hasn't. So why would I put him on my roster? Why would I invest in a guy that has never made the fantasy football championships or has never finished a full season? I wouldn't. And it makes me so angry considering this guy's also threatening a holdout. Madison's the starter there. I'm telling you guys right now, if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I would not pay Dalvin Cook. There's so much fantasy football hatred I have for this guy, how he's beyond overrated. I'm not trusting him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm staying far, far away from Dalvin Cook. He blew his load last year. There's no way he's going to put up these type of numbers again. I'm telling you. So Dalvin Cook is beyond overvalued, sitting number 5 on the consensus rankings. Ahead of guys like Derrick Henry. Are you crazy? Ahead of guys like Todd Gurley. Ahead of guys like Leonard Fournette. Ahead of guys like David Johnson. This is just ludicrous. It's crazy. Ahead of Josh Jacobs. I don't agree with it at all. And the fact that this is like an industry standard, all the magazines print out with these type of publications, it's crazy. Now, let's talk about credibility. Before we get to the second guy, I want to talk a little bit about credibility. Last year, I was the guy that told you, hey, Landry will outperform Odell. And what did people do? In the magazines, Odell Beckham was top 5 running back. On the mainstream consensus rankings, all the white-collar analysts, all those guys, all those jerks told you Odell Beckham round 1. Not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row. And I said Landry will outperform Baker Mayfield. So there's some credit to me, guys. Pat him. So you're not just talking to a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. I was the guy who called it. Then, right, it was Le'Veon Bell round 1. I said, no, stay away from Le'Veon Bell round 1. He's on a new team. He's on the Jets. He was a product of, listen carefully, he was a product of the offense of the Steelers. That's the bottom line, okay? So I do not trust Le'Veon Bell. That's what I said, and everyone drafted him round 1. Another example, Damian Williams. I'm like, do not drink the Damian Williams Kool-Aid, guys. Don't drink it. Years to wow us. We're not wowed, okay? And obviously, Damian Williams busted in the second round. So again, this is going to continue. I'm warning you guys yet again. Oh, also Antonio Brown round 2. I said stay away. So I'm warning you guys. I'm warning you. Heed my warning. Get off the track on these players. There's better running backs to get early on, okay? So again, I've got a good track record of avoiding guys with potential pitfalls, okay? Next guy here, beyond overrated, number 7 on the consensus rankings. The guy I'm talking about is Joe Mixon. By the way, Dalvin Cook sitting at number 5 to 6, depending. And then Joe Mixon, number 7 on amongst running backs. Joe Mixon does not wow me. He finished 11th last year amongst running backs, and he's currently sitting 7th. This guy peaked in 2018. His numbers peaked. This was his peak. This was his climax. This was the big raw. I'm not excited. 8 touchdowns was his peak year. Okay, 243 fantasy points, 1,168 yards. He hasn't even eclipsed. He has not surpassed. He's not hit the pinnacle that is 1,200 rushing yards for a workhorse running back. Now, you could say, well, Joe, the ceiling is there. They brought in Burrow. A.J. Green's going to be back. Hopefully this and that. Yeah, I think T. Higgins could be a sleeper there as well at the wide receiver position. They've got some weapons. I'll give them that. Improved O-line slightly. Joe Mixon is primed for a good season, but do I trust the Bengals offense? No, I don't. New quarterback? No, I'm going to stay away from that. And especially a guy that's being drafted ahead of Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, and David Johnson, and David Montgomery. It's insane. It's ludicrous, and I'm staying away. Again, peaking at 243 points. I don't know what to tell you, man. This makes me angry. And again, this is in all publications. This guy is really touted and promoted to be this top 7 running back when he's really not that good. He's okay, but again, he's on the Bengals and he's peaked at 1,168 yards, 8 touchdowns. Unacceptable. All right, the next guy here, and this is one of those guys that I think could have a high ceiling, could be a top 3 running back, has that potential, has that ceiling. The durability is there, so those are the credits to him. The knocks to Kenyan Drake, who I'm talking about as an overvalued running back here, is sitting at number 8. Now, number 8 is very high for me, guys. I would not touch Kenyan Drake, so that means he's coming off second round, early second round. Beyond overvalued. Now, let's look at what he did last year. He had 3 good games. I encourage you guys to look him up, okay? Around 24.2 points in week 9. He had a 30 plus game in week 15, 30 plus game. So what I'm trying to make is he had 3 good games, one at 24 points, the other 2 over 30 in regards to PPR fantasy points, week 15 and 16. The point I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter if he had 40, 50 points. He had 3 good games. 3 good games, guys, in last year's season where I was like, wow, this guy could have a little bit of upside, has a little bit of excitement. Prior to that, guys, he's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing over the past 3 years. Now, if you look at his 3 years when he was in Miami, I think he had 6 receiving touchdowns, 9 total rushing touchdowns, 1,358 yards. Guys, that's nothing. That's not something, I'm going to get giddy and excited about and roll out of my bed and say, I got to draft Kenyan Drake in the first round. I mean, stay the hell away. Why would I do that? Why would I invest in a guy? And by the way, I got to tell you, the Arizona Cardinals have 0, when I say 0 integrity towards their running backs. They don't care about their running backs. Look what they did to David Johnson last year. You have to take that under serious consideration if you decide to put Kenyan Drake on your roster. You have to look at it and say, okay, Kenyan Drake, he is just not potentially going to be respected. They got Eno Benjamin there. He may make the team, may not draft in the 7th round. They got Chase Edmonds. By the way, that week 15, he had 38.6 points, just to let you know. I messed up on that number. So looking at Kenyan Drake, I just don't trust him. I don't trust that offense. I don't trust the coaching. Kingsbury's a jerk. I mean, how can you take your starting running back and bench him? And that's what I think he wants to do. He wants to phase out the old team, bring in the new team, and I get it. But he also got DeAndre Hopkins, who's sitting there as a potential top 5 guy. I don't see the volume going to be there for him as well. That's a whole other discussion on overvalued wide receivers we'll get into. But again, the ceiling is there, but 3 games, guys. That's it. That's what you're going on. You're drafting this guy like as your technically RB1 for most cases in the second round. I'm just going to stay away, right? Look up for Eno Benjamin as a late round sleeper, guys. So definitely temper your expectations about Kenyan Drake. I just don't trust him. I don't trust the offense. Don't trust Kingsbury. Don't trust Drake. Temper your expectations. He's sitting number 8 on the consensus. I'm definitely staying away. Next guy I want to talk about, there's some drama surrounding him. He's sitting number 9 on the consensus, just behind Kenyan Drake, and it's Austin Ekeler. There's some drama on my Instagram. I posted that he sucks, and I can't believe that Austin Ekeler is being drafted and in the top 10 ahead of studs like Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, guys like that, because he's not a truthful workhorse. So I posted that he sucks. Ekeler chimed in asking why. I explained that he only had 3 rushing touchdowns, 500 yards-ish, and 132 attempts, so I don't think he's a workhorse. And then he says he's ultra efficient in the receiving game. There's some back and forth. Twitter blew up. A lot of white-collar haters came in, talked crap about me. Listen, I don't care. I don't think he should be a top 10 guy no matter what. He's not a full, true workhorse. Years to wow us, we're not wowed before this. I would temper my expectations on Austin Ekeler. There's a reason Joshua Kelly was acquired by the Chargers. Now, he was a 4th rounder, and he doesn't look amazing and dynamic on tape, but this is something you definitely need to be aware of when you're looking at Austin Ekeler, is that Joshua Kelly factor and then the quarterback factor and all these different situations. I just really, really don't trust Austin Ekeler for this season. Be cautious, temper your expectations. And Austin Ekeler is a guy that I will not be drafting, especially if you're investing a 2nd-round pick on a guy that was a backup for years. And again, I'm all about the underdog stepping up, and he did step up last year, but he's not full, true workhorse running back, and I need that when I'm drafting a 1st or 2nd round pick. I never invest in PPR guys. Kamara's a guy that's always been good, but not a guy on my radar because he's always part of a committee, and I think that's the same thing with both Drake and Ekeler, so staying away. All right, number 11 here on the consensus rankings. Another guy that's completely overvalued is Nick Chubb. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. Nick Chubb is probably one of the most overvalued running backs in the history of overvalued running backs, sitting at 11. Now, he's coming off late 1st round, early 2nd sometimes in a 12-person league, and people are hoarding him up like he is the best thing since sliced bread. Listen, I'm staying away. And I'll tell you why, and I've said this, and I don't care if I sound like a broken record. And again, I'm good at predicting guys that could potentially bust. I'm really good at that. I got a really good track record at that, and I don't see the situation going well for Nick Chubb. He is being drafted as if Kareem Hunt is sitting the first 10 weeks of the NFL season. He's not. And he's being drafted predicated on last year's finish. He is being put on this pedestal, and Kareem Hunt is basically going to be a water boy, is the thought process behind this. And I totally disagree with this. Nick Chubb is the most overvalued running back in overvalued running back history. Yes, he's a great runner. Yes, he's a great talent, but he doesn't catch the ball very well. That's why they got Kareem Hunt there. And Kareem Hunt is a superior running back. If you guys remember, don't buy the recency bias. He was the rushing leader in 2017. How do people forget that? How do you ignore the fact that Kareem Hunt is an elite talent? And whenever there's an elite talent running back running beside an elite talent running back, I stay away. Just to remind you, 1,327 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns on the ground, 53 receptions for 455 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns back in 2017 for Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt actually had, 295 PPR fantasy points, a solid production, a solid campaign, and 272 rushing attempts. So the volume is there for Kareem Hunt. He is the guy that should be the workhorse technically on this team. And I understand they've got a coach that'll run, Stefanski is going to run Nick Chubb, and I get it, but how do you ignore Kareem Hunt? I can't. Okay, the last guy here that's an overvalued running back being drafted mid to late 2nd round is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My concern is this. I don't trust the Chiefs. They throw a lot. And the year that Kareem Hunt, as we just went to his stats, which is kind of convenient, we're running into this, Pat Mahomes wasn't there. He wasn't throwing as much as he was. He wasn't there. It was a different offense, different team. Kareem Hunt had that year. Last year, in regards to attempts, there was only 212 attempts between both McCoy and Damian Williams. Mind you, Damian Williams only played like 11 games or something like that. But the fact of the matter is this. There just wasn't enough volume to justify that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to get a ton of volume as a pass-catching running back. And I heard they're going to play Damian Williams, okay? And 58 receptions, 212 attempts. That's total between McCoy and Damian Williams combined. 50-plus receptions and 212 attempts does not equal mathematically that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a workhorse running back or even a PPR monster. As long as Damian Williams is there, he will be a thorn in the side of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it's going to be a very, very annoying situation. So to me, I'm probably going to stay away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire this season. He comes with major risk, and I don't see the ceiling because I think there's a limited I see a limited ceiling, right? Because of the fact that I don't see a lot of attempts going that way. So another guy that I'm staying away, and I consider him a overvalued fantasy football running back. And that's it, guys. There's some overvalued running backs for you guys early. Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Kenyan Drake, Austin Ekeler, Nick Chubb, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not drafting any of these guys. It's up to you guys, and I'm sure 2 or 3 of these guys are going to be phenomenal, but you're rolling the dice. Who is it going to be? Who's going to bust? But I assure you, some of these guys, I'd say most of these guys will not finish top 10. There's going to be other guys emerging. Jonathan Taylor possibly if he emerges. There's other guys, Josh Jacobs in the top 10, David Johnson, David Montgomery. There's so many more guys that could crack that top 10 and push these guys out because they're going to be true workhorse running backs. So stay away from these guys, okay? Leave your questions below. Of course, get the 60-round draft solution at thefantasyfootballcouncil.com. Appreciate you guys being here, and I'm beyond excited. Fantasy football will be here before we know it. Subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and go to thefantasyfootballcouncil.com right now. Get that 16-round draft solution. We'll talk soon.